Hi. So this is a bit different on the channel for those that may be tuning in for nature and animals and stuff, or even just when I'm playing music. This isn't it. I don't usually or intend to do lots of reviews or anything, but I've sold this here MI Audio Tube Zone Overdrive, and I thought I'd just do a little video recording so I can save the sounds and demonstrate what it does. Next to it is the Ulbrich 12-ax, which is sort of my preference these days because it's a bit more natural sounding. Helps if I plug in the guitar. That I stood on it. Bet you like that sound. I stood on the lead and unplugged myself just as I put the camera on. But yeah, get an idea of the clean sound of the guitar. And this one really seems to capture the original sound of your guitar a bit better, just amplified or overdrive it. So that's my go-to. So I've got rid of this one, but it's incredible as it is a overdrive effect pedal for your amp that really adds a lot of options. It's one of the few that I've ever tried that works well down low and up high. Usually they're good down low or up high, but not both. And the Ulbrich, I would say, it's a low gain overdrive. So it's not for high distortion, but it's good when you're cranking a valve or tube amplifier. Maybe it's already a little bit broken up for a bluesy sort of sound. You kick that in and it gives you like a higher gain channel, but not exactly high gain. It gives it a bit of breakup or a sweeter overdriven tone to give it a bit more, but it tends to be in the low to mid overdrive sound. This one works well down very low as a booster, up a little bit as a typical overdriven sound of an amp, a tube amp being saturated a bit, and then you just crank it right up and you get these full-on saturated sounds. So I'd probably not talk too long. I just wanted to give a quick demo of it, but up high I think it's meant to sound like a Mesa Boogie amplifier or something like that to give you that really huge saturated sustaining sound. But I've also found you can crank the mids a bit and get a nice crunchy rock sound as well. So I'll whack her on. So you have it sort of just under midway to turn it right down because there's so much gain on it as well in way of just volume, not just the drive. So if we go over to the bridge pickup on my Gibson. So it gives you a nice idea of it not just doing overdrive, but more of a crunchy rock sound. But as I said, you can turn it down. If you, of course, turn your volume a bit, you get just a boost sort of a sound. Middle pickup. Pickup just with it down low and a bit of volume, so you get a bit of a boost you could use for just soloing or standing out. But you turn up a little bit on the drive, you get a little bit of a bluesy breakup, again just sounding more naturally like an amplifier. Middle pickup. Did mean to turn the mids back to, you can sort of scoop them. That sort of scooped mid-tone, so it's very powerful control and punch it up to be heard a bit more, but I tend to just leave it about midway or so depending on what amplifier I'm using. So it's just sort of a low overdrive sound, matches a bit more like the other one I use. That's it, sort of about a third of the way on. You go halfway, and with the other controls just being set as they are, which by the way I didn't mention, just meant to see how it sounds with typical setting, but it's got a bright control just to highlight the top end, a typical tone control, which I think boosts the cuts in either direction, treble and bass. Of course the mids, which are very important in guitar and being heard in a mix with other guitarists, and character, which is quite good, which is opposite to the bright. It's not really a bass control, but focuses the sound more on the bottom end, so you get a fatter sound. But here we are with the drive just halfway, and I better turn it down. The volume. I'm not really here to show off any guitar skills. I'll save that for someone else. So that's it on the bridge pickup, with it only halfway, to get a bit of an idea. Fatter sound there, just depending on what pickup I use. I'm using a Gibson Custom Shop ES339, 339, which is a semi-hollow, smaller guitar, which I've done a video on. And just to give an idea what I'm using, I think it's a classic 57 pickups. The tones are set full on for the bridge pickup and just rolled back a bit for the neck. I really like the sound of both pickups on. But anyway, to get on with this, I'll just turn it a bit more. Start getting some heavier sounds. So gone from overdrive or boost to a bit of overdrive to crunchy sound to a full-on overdriven higher gain sound as you roll it around. We're about 2/3 now. Sort of trying to play similar things to get an idea, but that's starting to get almost like a fuzz sound to it. Fuzzy, sustaining sound. It's getting into more like big muff territory. Yes, I said big muff, but referring to the pedal. So very fuzzy and driven, but that's again only 2/3. If we crank it all the way, I start getting feedback. I'm sitting next to the amp, so I have to turn it down a little bit. Here it sort of compresses more, and it's really like a full-on fuzz or a totally saturated amplifier being driven full bore. Was hit full bore, and I haven't really fiddled with the tones. I went from middle pickup to the neck pickup, which I think it sounds really good. When you're getting that full-on distorted singing sound, you tend to switch to a more of a bassy sound on your guitar, but of course it can work either way for a bit more. Before it starts screaming, that was on the bridge pickup, so it's always going to be a bit sharper. So you can do that with it as well, but you've got to tame your volume a bit. Watch out for the feedback. It's partly because I'm sitting right in front of this little all-brick amplifier. There we have it, isn't it cute? Little 20-watt club amplifier with the lit-up display behind it there. So it's very simple. It's volume, treble, bass, and master volume. So I've got it turned right down, but it is feeding back because I'm sitting right in front. So that's a better look at the little effect pedal, but I have sold it, so I'm going to send that off pretty soon. It's basically as new. I got it direct from them, sent out at a good price at the time, so I thought I'm not using it. I'm using this, which is my preference, just because it's a bit more natural. Forget about your Klon Centaurs or anything like that. Well, don't forget them, but you can break the bank and buy one if you want. But for me, this is my go-to, signed by Dave Ulbrich as well, as I'm acquainted with him. He services the gear for me. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoy that. It may not be everyone's cup of Earl Grey. I'm not intending to take over from many other people that probably do demo videos very better. I'm filming from my phone. I don't have anything to hold the phone onto, so I had it balanced on the side here. There's no reverb on this little amp, which I actually liked because of this beast over here, my Vintage Pro Reverb, a 66 I think it is. It just kept breaking reverb tanks on it, so the wires. So I use this little Deluxe Plus, which gives it the option of a reverb and tremolo like you'd get on a vintage Fender amp. So I like that sort of sound. I tend to dial things into sound like that one, the Fender, most of the time. But great sounding amplifiers. I've got that and the bigger one hiding under here, the 50-watt Arena. But I just was using a bit of reverb on this to do the demo, and hopefully it gave it a bit of a demonstration of what it can do. I'm not really the best at doing that, but just have a look at all the various controls. It's a very versatile pedal. Out of all the pedals I've owned, and I've had a lot bought and sold and whatnot for various brands and boutique brands. This is one of the best for covering a variety of tones, both low, mid and high gain, which others don't seem to do. They excel in one area or the other, and that tends to be what I do. Now, I don't play heavy stuff or a lot of distorted tones much in my music these days. I'm playing a lot cleaner with the guitar, like that. But if I want just a bit of breakup, I tend to have this 12-ax Ulbrich. But there's no comparing. They're different beasts for different purposes. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. It may not be, as I said, for everyone. I might do a few more as I buy and sell stuff, but I'm generally more interested in just playing music with a band and getting my songs, my originals out there. So thanks for tuning in if you had. And we'll catch you in another video. Bye.